On May 7, 2011, the world of golf lost one of its brightest stars, Seve Ballesteros, the Spanish legend who changed European golf forever, passed away at just 54 years old after battling a brain tumor. But before his sad ending, Seve gave us some of the most exciting and dramatic moments in golf history. His story is filled with genius, passion, and yes, some pretty heated rivalries that people still talk about today. Seve was born on April 9, 1957, in a small town called Pedrena in northern Spain. His path to greatness was nothing like other golfers. While most pros learned at fancy country clubs with perfect greens and top coaches, young Seve taught himself to play on the beaches near his home. He only had one club, a cut-down 3-iron, and he would practice for hours, hitting shots on the sand. This might sound like a tough way to learn, but it actually made him into something special. Because he learned on the beach with just one club, Seve developed an amazing ability to hit creative shots that other golfers could only dream about. He turned professional when he was just 16 years old in 1974. It did not take long for people to notice this talented young Spaniard. At age 19, Seve burst onto the world stage at the 1976 Open Championship at Royal Birkdale. Even though it was only his second time playing in a major championship, he led after the first 3 rounds. His exciting style caught everyone's attention. Johnny Miller, one of the best players at the time, said Seve was like a breath of fresh air. Although he faded in the final round and finished tied for second with Jack Nicklaus, everyone knew they had just witnessed the arrival of a future superstar, and Seve definitely delivered on that promise. He won his first European Tour event just a month after that Open Championship. By the end of 1976, he had already won the Order of Merit, which goes to the best player in Europe for the year.
This was just the beginning of an incredible career that would include 5 major championships. He won 3 Open Championships in 1979, 1984, and 1988. He also won 2 Masters tournaments in 1980 and 1983. By the time he retired, Seve had won 50 European Tour events, a record that still stands today. He was ranked number 1 in the world for 61 weeks between 1986 and 1989. Before we go further into his amazing career, if you are enjoying this story about one of golf's greatest legends, make sure to hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below telling us which Seve moment you remember most. Was it one of his major wins, or maybe a dramatic Ryder Cup shot? Let us know what made you a fan of the Spanish maestro. But Seve was more than just a great individual player. He became the heart and soul of European golf. Before Seve came along, American golfers dominated the sport. The Ryder Cup, a team competition between America and Europe, was mostly won by the Americans. But Seve changed all of that. Ken Schofield, who ran the European Tour, said that Seve was the leader in Europe who showed other players like Nick Faldo, Sandy Lyle, Ian Woosnam, and Bernhard Langer that they could compete with and beat the Americans. He gave them belief. Seve loved the Ryder Cup. His aggressive style and fearless attitude were perfect for the pressure of match play. He won 20 points from 37 matches in his Ryder Cup career, helping Europe win 5 times. His partnership with fellow Spaniard Jose Maria Olazabal became legendary. Together, they won 12 points from 15 matches, making them the most successful European pairing in Ryder Cup history. And in 1997, Seve served as the winning captain when the Ryder Cup was held in Spain for the first time ever on continental European soil. But with all his success and passion came some intense rivalries. Seve's fierce competitive spirit and unconventional style sometimes put him at odds with the more rigid American golf establishment.
One of the first major conflicts happened at the 1980 US Open at Balllesteros. Seve arrived at the tournament as the reigning Masters and Open champion. He was the favorite to win, but then something embarrassing happened. He showed up late for his tee time. Now, according to the rules back then, if Seve had arrived before his playing partners hit their second shots, he would have gotten a 2-stroke penalty, but could still play. However, his partners that day were Hale Irwin and Marco Mera, and they had already hit their second shots by the time Seve arrived. This meant the official had no choice but to disqualify him completely. The technical rule was clear, but whispers
rumors started circulating. Some people suggested that Irwin had rushed his second shot on purpose to make sure Seve got disqualified instead of just penalized. There was never any proof of this, but the rumors stuck around in European golf circles. It created a feeling that the American establishment was too rigid and would use any rule they could to stop the exciting young Spaniard. Despite this tension, Irwin himself had great respect for Seve's talent. He later called Seve one of the greatest shotmakers and most colorful players in golf. He especially praised Seve's unbelievable short game skills around the green. So while they might have clashed over rules and procedures, Irwin recognized just how special Seve was as a golfer. The rivalry that really defined Seve's competitive fire, though, was with Paul Azinger. Their feud became the symbol of the fierce US versus Europe battles in the Ryder Cup. It started at the 1989 Ryder Cup at the Belfry during a tight singles match. The two were described as the fiercest competitors on their teams. Early in the match, Seve asked to take a scuffed ball out of play, but Azinger refused to let him. Later, on the 18th hole, Seve got his revenge by questioning whether Azinger had taken a proper drop from a water hazard. Azinger won the match,
but this back and forth set up a pattern. They were not just playing golf against each other, they were using the rules as weapons in a psychological war. Things got even more heated at the 1991 Ryder Cup at Kiowa Island, South Carolina. This event became known as the War on the Shore, and it lived up to that name. In the opening match, Seve and Olazabal played against Azinger and his partner Chip Beck. During the round, Seve noticed that the Americans were switching between different types of golf balls, which was against a local rule for that Ryder Cup. When Seve pointed it out, Azinger first denied it, but later, after being told it was too late for any penalty, Azinger admitted they had changed balls. This led to one of Seve's most famous quotes. He said that cheating and breaking the rules is different, and that the Europeans were not saying the Americans cheated. This comment showed how Seve saw things. To him, the Americans might follow the letter of the law in public, but they would still bend or break smaller rules when they thought they could get away with it. The rivalry got personal, too. Seve publicly said that the American team had 11 nice guys and Paul Azinger. That made it clear just how much tension existed between them. The whole 1991 Ryder Cup was filled with accusations of gamesmanship. Some opponents claimed that Seve would cough or jangle change in his pocket during their backswings to distract them. Seve was called a master of gamesmanship. He saw these tactics as necessary tools to compete against American dominance. The combination of rules disputes, personal attacks, and psychological warfare made the event incredibly dramatic. It was so intense that American television showed it on live network TV for the first time. The rivalry between Seve and the Americans, especially Azinger, had turned the Ryder Cup into must-see television. Through all the controversy and conflict, one thing remained clear. Seve Ballesteros was a genius with a golf club in his hands. Ben Crenshaw, a two-time Masters champion, said that Seve could have an off week and still win. But if Seve played well and everyone else played well, Seve would still win. Lee Trevino praised his completeness, saying that on a golf course, Seve had everything, including touch, power, know-how, courage, and charisma. These quotes from legends of the game show that even through all the feuds and drama, his peers respected his incredible talent. Seve's playing style was based on creativity and imagination. Because he learned on the beach with limited equipment, he could hit shots that others could not even picture in their dreams. This made him thrilling to watch, but also meant he sometimes found himself in trouble on the course. Yet he always seemed to find a way to escape and pull off miraculous recoveries. That ability to create magic from difficult situations is what made fans around the world fall in love with him. Sadly, Seve's brilliant career was cut short by physical problems. The powerful swings and aggressive style that made him great also took a toll on his back. By 2007, at age 50, he announced his retirement from competitive golf. But his legacy was already secure. He was elected to the World Golf Hall of Fame in 1999 and named European Player of the Century. Then, in October 2008, came devastating news. Seve was diagnosed with a malignant brain tumor. He fought the disease with the same courage and determination he showed on the golf course. He underwent 4 operations and extensive treatments.
Even while battling his illness, he continued to inspire the European Ryder Cup team with emotional speeches. But on May 7th, 2011, Seve lost his final battle. He died peacefully at his home in Padrena, the same town where he learned to play golf on the beach all those years ago. He was only 54 years old. Before he died, Seve reflected on life and death. He said that for everything in life, there is always a beginning and an end, and that seeing the end coming is the tough part, the most difficult thing. These words from a man who faced everything with such passion and fire are both sad and beautiful. Seve Ballesteros gave European golf belief. He showed an entire continent that they could compete with and beat the Americans. He transformed the Ryder Cup from a one-sided competition into the most exciting rivalry in golf. His 5 major championships and 50 European Tour wins speak to his individual brilliance. His Ryder Cup record and legendary partnership with Olazabal show his ability to elevate his game for his team and his continent. The feuds with Hale Irwin and especially Paul Azinger were real and intense, but they were also part of what made Seve so compelling. He was not just talented, he was passionate, emotional, and willing to do whatever it took to win. Sometimes that meant bending the rules of etiquette or using psychological tactics. His fierce competitive spirit could annoy opponents, but it also inspired teammates and thrilled fans around the world. Seve Ballesteros remains one of the few athletes in any sport known simply by his first name. When you say Seve, every golf fan knows exactly who you mean. His legacy is not just in the trophies he won or the records he set. It is in the belief he gave to European golf, the excitement he brought to the Ryder Cup, and the magical shots he created that seemed impossible. He was a true legend of the game, and golf will never forget the fire and passion of Seve Ballesteros. If this story of golf's most passionate competitor inspired you, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, and share your favorite Seve memory in the comments. Let's keep the legend alive together.